Welcome to Commonwealth Stadium. You know, when you talk about the Eskimos, you have to talk about their winning tradition. And the foundation of that tradition was built in the early 50s with such great players as Jackie Parker, Johnny Bright, and Frankie Morris. As the Eskimos worked their way through the 70s, the one thing they did better and more often than any other team in the CFL was win. In the latter part of the 70s, the Eskimo defense established themselves as very aggressive and innovative. At the same time, the Eskimo offense, to keep pace with that defense, scored an awful lot of points, and they scored them from all over the field. The 1989 Eskimos have shown an awful lot of characteristics that made the Eskimo teams in the past great. Tonight, these Eskimos take their winning tradition and put it on the line as they play host to the Calgary Stampeders on CFN.
This is Foster's Canadian Football Network. The Edmonton Eskimos slaughtered the Calgary Stampeders in July by 50 points. Warman to the end zone. Taylor for the touchdown. And it seemed just as bad for Calgary at McMahon Stadium on Labor Day because of 8 turnovers. Here they come. Don't adjust your sets. The Eskimos won that game 31-14 to take a 6-point lead in the CFL West. 17-0 on another Reggie Taylor touchdown, and basically that was that. And so will be the race for first place if the Eskimos beat the Stampeders again tonight. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. I'm Dave Hodge. Everybody in the CFL is playing David to Edmonton's Goliath these days, and for the second time this week, it's the Stampeders' turn. Based on what happened to them in 2 games at Calgary, they have to try something different tonight, and indeed they are forced to do that at quarterback because of an injury to Danny Barrett. The Stampeders have chosen Terrence Jones to start at quarterback tonight. He's a highly touted rookie out of Tulane, great athlete, good runner, but this will be his first start in the CFL.
Well, it's a great challenge for Terrence and all our team. We've responded to Danny Barrett's injury, and this is what we feel is our best route to go. Throughout the season, we want to get Terrence involved in game day situations, and that's how he's going to grow. That's how he's going to get better to be a first-rate CFL quarterback, so that's our decision.
We're just going to execute a football game like we planned in practice. Whatever we worked on in practice, we're just going to execute to perfection, and whatever it gives us, we'll take. But there's no special play we put in for this week. It's just that we got to put ourselves together and work mentally and build the game together as one.
Terrence Jones knows by now he's facing the top team in the CFL. It's the third and last regular season meeting between the Stampeders and the Eskimos. The Edmonton Eskimos have already won the season series with 2 wins at Calgary. They win the Battle of Alberta trophy that goes with it. They haven't let their fans in on the fun yet, and that's what Joe Farragalli hopes to do tonight. That's the story for the Eskimos. As for the Stampeders, there is a grit-your-teeth determination about this game, and I think we're going to see as physically intense a performance as we've seen all season from the Stampeders. One comes to expect that from the Eskimos, too. This should be fun. The ever-dangerous Ron Hopkins on Calgary's kickoff return. And he broke more tackles than Farragalli would like to get it to the 48.
We talk about the Stampeders offense, and the one thing and the best thing they can do is start to move the football. Terrence Jones is going to have his first real start. He's had some playing time, but he's now going to get an opportunity to set his own pace in this game. And the pace is what he'll have to do against a pretty aggressive defense.
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of offensive formations Larry Q. Harris has designed for Terrence Jones. This looks pretty basic to start the game. Jones wanted to run. He let him, and that's Greg Stuman. There is a flag.
Tough thing to get to the outside of the Eskimos with Suman and Hill. They'll play it fairly plain to begin the game on first down. A little bit of a change in the 4-3, but nothing too fancy. That fancy will come, though.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 5. First down.
Stanley Blair downfield, establishing maybe some territory early.
From the Eskimo 47-yard line.
Playing up tight against Larry Willis. Knows he has to try to be physical. Willis simply throwing a block to the backside, and that is not legal.
Stanley Blair, fortunately, he's still in the game after the first play, perhaps. Well, Jones will just simply do it again, and another flag comes down.
Picked up 7 yards, brought down the play by Mike.
Well, trying to use the things that Terrence Jones does best, and maybe to get him relaxed. Get him to the outside. Let him run with the football.
I guess the flag fell out. The field is wet because of a hard rainstorm. Didn't last too long, but a lot of rain did fall about 3 hours before game time. Here's 3 running backs, 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver. And it works for the Stampeders. Good run by Petros.
Coach Gerhardt feels he has to come out and either make the defense, the Eskimo defense, show what they're going to do. And he thinks in the double tight end, 3 running back, that's what they'll do. They'll run right at them, or they'll go to the outside as Terrence Jones did in the play before this. Simple pitch, looks like it's going out, and Petros cuts up inside, lays a pretty good shot on the defensive back by dropping his shoulder, and gets himself a first down.
Get a look at this now. Larry Willis, bottom of your screen, the only receiver, everybody else way in tight. 2 ends on the line and 3 backs behind Jones. Lorenzo Graham gets the ball this time, something you don't normally see in this league.
I think the one thing the Stampeders are firm in is that they're going to go with this formation along with a couple of others and stay with it. Larry Carrot said we can't be forced out of it. We're going to have to make it successful and make it work.
I don't think it surprises the Eskimos that the Stampeders are trying to run the ball, but they certainly haven't seen this before and had no way to expect it. 4 men along the line and in the backfield, and they're used to seeing. Pass for Willis. Blair had good coverage on him, and Larry Willis just had no chance of getting to that ball.
Well, if you can run the ball successfully, that will give you and your quarterback time to throw it, because the defense can't pin their ears back, and that's what they want, because that will allow a guy like Larry Willis to get in a one-on-one situation. This time with Stanley Blair, you see him start to the outside before, then work back in. He might have been better staying to the outside.
So Mark McLaughlin gets a chance to put the Stampeders in front. They had some success with 3 running back, 2 tight end formation. Got him in position for McLaughlin's field goal attempt, and we can now call it a successful one. The Stampeders go on top by 3. It was a big return on the wrist, but a holding penalty brought to the line. Gets the ball. Luggage is more on the road on over here. Beats back and pulled away. Covered by the edge. First down. People.
By McGregor.
A good how they played in the second half. Goes down the battle with the guard 4 goals. You look at
that's him. They can't consider. We see the before Willis comes back. Great coverage by Andreas. Bourgeois was able to hit that gap to the side. He's in the box. Simply the lines made for reading just that gap in the way.
Great. Right to Hunter. Hunter is down at the 3-yard line, so the Eskimos have not been fit. And they're 3. The second quarter will start with a Brent managed punt. Tony Hunter is deep. Stampeders like that they're even after 50. I guess they like the fact they haven't turned the ball over. They have a whole lot to back. This game has started much better than the Labor Day game did. Hunter has to retreat over the shoulder to catch the ball, and the Stampeders are after me, going backward but not down yet. Hit by the Stampeders.
Well, they've got to make sure to secure him because he, Den whipped that punch and field reputation last year. Not good for after he snapped the ball. But I say that's a pin and a 3 count on his back. That's okay. Can't grab the pads now.
Again, goes from fairly deep their own zone. They put the tape. Redsons to the 23-yard line.
We're going to keep Taylor in there. I think occasionally see the ball to Blake Marshall, though he is primarily the lead blocker. I think that's going to help Tracy Ham a bit if they get that defense to settle back and watch for the run.
The ball at 22. They need 3 yards and a bit for a first down. Marshall with nowhere to go.
Landry staying at home. You see him getting the congratulations to the rest of the defense. Taylor gets out of the backfield. The only one left Marshall. He doesn't even take a step back. He makes that read. Just takes a shot along with Fleming. Middle linebacker's job, as it is for the quarterback, is to read the offense, try to find a key to tell him what's going on, to give him that advantage.
Is hunting again to McCrary, who's been quick to come up under defense and get the Eskimos to commit a yard. Fraction has an easier time fielding this one. Good run by McCrary to the 40 and inside the 35. The Stampeders are in scoring territory as they get the ball, and they're tied with Edmonton.
You see George Hopkins right there changing Howard Field's cleats. They've gone to a half-inch, or from a half-inch to a 3/4-inch cleats. Another advantage for the Eskimos. They've played on this surface in this condition. They came into the game with a little longer cleat.
If it's a game of field position, the Stampeders should be leading it. This is the 3rd time they have started an offensive drive from Edmonton's side of midfield. The Prairie's punt return they have to thank for it this time. Jones throws it into the end zone. 2 receivers are there, but one of them fell down, and that enabled an interception. In the deepest corner of the end zone, the Eskimos have the first turnover of the game go for them. Stanley Blair and Andre Francis are back there, and Francis has the ball.
Willis to the wide side, a little bit of motion to get away from the bump. Downfield to the outside of Francis. Now Terrence Jones by this time has got away from the rush, bought some extra time. It's a little bumping downfield. Willis tries to make the adjustment, turning backwards. Francis has got that yard cushion. He's there for the catch.
So that cancels the good punt return by McCrary and gives the Eskimos the ball at their 25-yard line. Teams are trying to hit big plays, but they're just not having any success.
A lot of people say that Andre Francis, who we're looking at right there, and Stanley Blair, the other corner for the Eskimos, might be the 2 best in the CFL to man-to-man coverage. I don't think there's any question that that fella's got the speed to cover man-to-man.
The middle and finally finds Richards, who finds 5 more yards by fighting for them.
Working that middle, taking a soft spot. Tom Richards has made a living of doing that this year against the zone defense, which the Stampeders play an awful lot of, especially through the middle part of the field. He'll make that cut, come back, come around where the linebacker is going to the outside and in front of Howard Fields. Perfect target, and then just a great effort. He's taking some shots here, though.
Ham is down as he took a little too long. You can wait for a receiver if you think the protection is good, but you can't wait forever. And Kent Warnock got there, and he's been a good pass rusher for the Stampeders this season.
Warnock not starting this game, but came into the outside semi-roll. Warnock takes the outside away. When Ham steps up, he comes underneath the block of Marshall and collapses the pocket. Came in with 7 sacks. That'll be his 8th.
It's a little too long, but he's still on his feet, and that makes him dangerous. Finally runs out of room as the Stampeders do a great job covering downfield, first of all, and then making sure Tracy Ham can't go anywhere.
Well, when he starts to come out of that pocket and threaten the line of scrimmage, the defensive players really, especially the linebackers, just have to bite their lip not to come off their coverage and try to come up and make a hit. And you want to talk about an ability to get away. Just that, I mean, he's lifting the ball, he's sidestepping. He must be a heck of a dancer. Landry takes a shot at him. A wise move, not trying to throw it downfield, and strange enough, the ball's in his left hand as he gets pushed out of bounds.
Doug Landry doesn't miss too often, as his tackle total would suggest. He is second in the league coming into this game. 65 tackles, only 4 behind Saskatchewan's middle linebacker Dave Albright. Tiny Andre Alexander figured he might as well field that ball, but did nothing with it. Watched it go out of bounds. The sky, Calgary and Edmonton 3-3 in the third meeting of the season. They could play again in the playoffs, but the schedule doesn't call for it. The Stampeders, of course, will love a shot at the Eskimos come playoff time. Graham just ran as far as he could to the sidelines, and the Eskimos are trying to get the fans hooting, hollering for the defense, which is often done here, the way this defense plays.
Graham getting a first-hand look at how quickly not only can the Eskimos get upfield and give the offensive line and blocking problems, but go to the sidelines, make a runner, take the hole, and then go to the outside and keep popping to the outside, which they did to Graham there.
Still in the tight set, 1 receiver, 2 tight ends, 3 running backs. Jones, Braswell chasing him. Braswell got him.
I'd have to think he's a little bit frustrated being Terrence Jones. Basic. Petro steps to the left to help out. Graham checks. No one's coming. Forced to the outside. Gets around Stuman. Now he's trying to direct traffic downfield. Willis is well covered by Stanley Blair. He's not going anywhere to help him out. It's just a matter of time until Braswell caught up to him.
Well, it might be just a matter of time before the Eskimos take the lead if this kind of defensive struggle continues. They can play it this way. The Stampeders, though, need some points, and the Eskimos seem more capable of getting them if you look at the first 9 games of the season. Hunter watched that punt by Matic go out of bounds at about the 38-yard line of Edmonton.
All the defensive players, including Jeff Braswell, are enjoying playing for Don Southern and Don Matthews in that defense. They say they're having some fun. And a fellow who couldn't play tonight, Brett Williams, because of a sore knee, said and confirmed that he'll just miss 1 game.
Now, in any other defense, an injury to a guy who's having the kind of season he's having would be considered detrimental, to say the least. But though the Eskimos undoubtedly miss him, I don't think they're going to talk about his absence being the reason if they don't win this game. Kent Warnock again getting to Tracy Ham and the Eskimo offense, which sputters.
Coach Caharet has nothing but good things to say about Kent Warnock. Immediately, Tracy Ham has nothing to do except try to get out of the way of an initial rusher. He literally goes into the hands of Warnock. Impressed by Warnock's work ethic and going in after practice and watching after film.
3-yard loss. Tracy Ham looks for a receiver. As an afterthought, he tried to hit Taylor, but that was just to avoid another sack, I think.
I'm thinking about what Leo Blanchard, who's the offensive tackle for the Stampeders, said to me before the game when they were out just walking around. He says, the longer we can keep it close, the better it is for us, because we're a second-half football team. We score most of our points there. There's the pressure. Virtual on Warnock. Good body position allows Ham to step up inside. But still, not nearly enough time, or not as much time as Ham would like.
That's the best-looking Corrick punt. Prairie is out of bounds.
And the Hogs, as they're called, affectionately that is, but the Eskimos getting together, Randy Ambrosi, Rod Conop, talking over some things as Trevor Bull gets into it, so he knows what's going on if he gets in.
That was a 50-yard punt by Corrick, a 5-yard return at the 30-yard line. The Stampeders continue to try to run the ball. This is not necessarily very exciting if this offensive formation continues, but the Stampeders are determined to stay with it, at least, shall we say, until they go to the dressing room at halftime and give the Eskimos something to think about, though maybe the Eskimos have done their thinking and aren't really too concerned about it.
Well, John Manders is ready for a physical game, he knew, and is looking forward to getting ahead if they can, so they can have some fun with defenses.
Game was close to 4, 2nd and 6. And Graham pops a big one up the middle. Lorenzo Graham to the 47-yard line. It's a big first down. They'll mark it closer to the 48, and the Stampeders grind it out and move the yardsticks.
Almost looks like Graham hit that seam before he almost wanted to. See, I think he wants to go left there. Spallettini's blocking, but he sees that seam and gets upfield quickly. And that's what I think the backs are going to have to take in this tight formation. Not necessarily always run to the hole where it's designed, but find that seam.
Graham found the same one that time to the 54.
Same type of thing. If a back has good vision and hits that line of scrimmage with his body square, he can make those cuts. He can cut back if he sees an opening. Or he can go with the flow and follow that guard.
42nd 3, Calgary.
Graham gained 6. It is 2nd down 4 from the 54 of the Stampeders. Jones faked it, tried to get outside. The Eskimos didn't buy it.
Don Wilson to the short side of the field. Has a responsibility. If he comes upfield, don't go with the play action. Stay to the outside and watch the quarterback. Larry Ruck had him to the inside, but Wilson coming on full blast. No chance for the play.
Well, the Stampeders have had moderate success with this formation, but the big thing it's supposed to give them, running ability for Terrence Jones, hasn't been there. Hunter thought about coming up, took it on one bounce. Away he goes. McVay is chasing him. Hunter beats McVay, still in bounds, still there. Now they say he came out. Just with the edge of his foot out at the 24-yard line, Calgary territory. Shades of Gizmo Williams from Tony the Wiz Hunter. Want to go beyond the Calgary goal line. They're out just inside the 25-yard line on first down. Over the middle to Richards. He's running to the side. Good hit on him by McCrary. Limits the gain as Richards is taken down right at the 20.
Asked Joe Farragilli before the game if he's instructed or told Tracy Ham to look for that quarterback draw when they get into what is called the plus territory inside the 25-yard line. Solid tackle by McCrary.
Well, he's had a big game, but it hasn't all counted. He intercepted a pass, but a penalty wiped it out, and then his good punt return put the Stampeders in a position to score. However, Terrence Jones' interception, picked off by Andre Francis, made them forget about that. Ham has been down of his own volition, allowed to get up and run for 5 yards. That's close to a first down.
Tony Hunter back in the football after having a bit of a break for a few years. Set this whole situation up in the situation that Tracy Ham and the Eskimo offense want to take advantage of. And not just with a field goal either. Lots of time. He looks to the right, adjusts the ball, and then goes backside. He's got a matchup that he wants, but that slip cost him right there.
Third down, 1 yard to go.
They're going to gamble on third down, and maybe gamble's the right word because they have more than a yard to go. That's why Ham doesn't keep it, hands it to Marshall. Maybe it's not a gamble when you've got a truck like that standing behind you.
Especially when that truck's leaning forward. Come off the football on the left side. Conop at center, Verschoval and Potier. Plus that extra tight end. Chances look pretty good for you that you're going to make it.
The Eskimos are at the Stampeder 13-yard line. First down, trying to notch the first touchdown of this game with 4 minutes left in the first half. And the punt return by Tony Hunter, 57 yards, set it up. That's his longest of the season, by the way. Ham fakes one, throws it into the corner, and throws it away, basically. Thurman was covering on Stephen Jones. Fields was over there, too. And Ham knows that the Eskimos want at least 3 points out of this drive. No chance of an interception when he throws it like that.
It's interesting as receivers come back to the huddle, or even before it gets to the huddle, because generally it's just the quarterback talking there. Stephen Jones in this situation just talking some things over in certain coverages, what adjustments that he's going to make. That little bit of communication can be very important.
Eskimos have not thrown to their leading receiver and the second leading receiver in the league, Craig Ellis, yet. Flag will go down, and they threw it to him that time.
Wasn't a catch, but it'll turn out to be just as good as one, because it'll be pass interference on the coverage to Craig Ellis.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 24. First down.
Peterson is using his right hand as a safety net. He's going to dive in front of Ellis. But just in case he misses it and Ellis catches it, he needs that net. And that net is the right arm. You just saw it at the end there around the hip, holding onto the sweater.
Hart doesn't agree. Ellis jumped up, expecting a flag. He got it. Here's the chance for the first touchdown of the game, and the Eskimos have it. Blake Marshall.
Eskimos hitting there in a bit of a slant. Watch Marshall's steps. Guard pulls out, Verschable pulls around, takes that corner away. Instead of hitting straight up in there like he has in the past, he gets the ball, slides just a little bit to his left, and falls Verschable. Nice job of blocking, and as you said earlier, it's tough to stop a truck.
Point. It is 10-3. Tracy Ham finally engineering a touchdown drive, but he can thank Tony Hunter more than anybody else, and the man who finally got it in there, Blake Marshall, who had to get a first down on a third down try to keep this drive going.
Well, the battle's won at the line of scrimmage, it's said many times, but a bit of a change in the blocking where Verschable, as I said, the left guard pulls out and around. A little bit of the old left-footed action here. He almost missed that. Rest for the weary. Marshall's captain of the special teams. He'll take his place on kickoff cover.
It's very frustrating for teams playing this Edmonton squad. Here are the Stampeders. They have held Edmonton to 10 points. 3 minutes from the end of the first half, and that's probably more than you expect to do, but Calgary's only got 3 of its own, and that becomes the problem. Scoring points against this Eskimo defense. Hopkins looking for a big return. Big enough.
Well, you just don't want to get that Eskimo defense in a situation or a mode where they start to show you those crazy fronts and literally know that you have to throw the football, so they're going to come after you. Well, I mentioned Greg Marshall just finished putting it in the end zone. Now he's heading in the same direction. Not maybe quite as quickly if that's all he's been doing is special teams. Good enough to take Darcy Kopp on with the right shoulder, though.
Stampeders from the 48. Again, it's Graham taking Terrence Jones' handoff. 2:49 to go, first half. Marshall has put the Eskimos on top. It's the third football battle of Alberta this season, and it's a battle that is tied right at the moment at the half. It wasn't easy for rookie Terrence Jones in the first half, but he threw one more touchdown pass than Tracy Ham did. And this was Jones' first touchdown as a Stampeder, first professional TD. Lorenzo Graham was on the other end, and that's the reason the game is tied. The Stampeders were in position to lead with a field goal, but because of a Mike Hildebrand interception, didn't get a chance to try it. Calgary's played well. I think the Stampeders and everybody else watching would admit that, but they're not yet ahead of the Eskimos, and staying close to them might be important, but winning is what Kuharich really wants. What does he have to do to play better and win this game?
Well, you're right. Staying close was the key, especially in the first half. Two things I think they have to make sure that they do better is, one is take advantage of Terrence Jones when he does get out of the pocket or he does improvise, come up with some success, hit some plays downfield, be it him running with the football or throwing it downfield. And secondly, I think they have to stop the Edmonton Eskimos from making a big play on special teams. Keep the coverage solid on punts and kickoffs, and don't allow them that big play like they had so far this evening, which really was the only time they gave them an opportunity to get down in scoring position.
Turnovers not as many as Labor Day, but still damaging to the Stampeders. They have committed the only 2 turnovers of the game, 2 interceptions, but in net yardage you can see that the Calgary Stampeders have outgained Edmonton by 50 yards, and the fact that Edmonton's total is below 100 does say a lot about the job Calgary's defense has done in the first half. The Stampeders and the Eskimos are tied on the scoreboard, 10-10. Marshall and Graham have the touchdowns, and we'll see the kind of football we've seen in the first half in the second half, I think, as the Stampeders continue to slug it out with their provincial rivals.
Rick Warman, it's important for both quarterbacks, whether they're going to go in now or not, to stay warm on a cool evening. I mentioned earlier we had some rain and some hail, and it has cooled down considerably. Rick Warman would probably like nothing better to get an opportunity to get in against his old teammates, sit back in that pocket and throw a couple of strikes for touchdowns.
Well, he might. There have been occasions this season when Warman has come in and the Eskimo offense has responded. And, of course, the Stampeders have Tom Porras ready and waiting if Larry Kuharich would like to use him.
Well, Larry Kuharich felt he had a very solid game plan coming in here. Knew his defense has been tough. They've been tough all year. But offensively was the key to shut down the wide open style of the Eskimos. And so far he's had success.
Marco Sinkar kicking off. Ron Hopkins returning. Hopkins was back change for Calgary. Tom Porras is calling the signals. And here's 3 receivers left, 3 receivers right. The Stampeders showed this at the beginning of the Labor Day game without much effect. They're back to it now. And Porras is lucky he wasn't intercepted by Bourgeot. Explain this change of strategy by the Stampeders.
Well, we figured if Porras came in, they were going to go to a more of a passing style. They felt Porras could read defenses more quickly. I think what it does is it's going to give the Eskimos a chance to go 6-on-5, man up on the outside 3, and try to put as much pressure quickly as they can on Tom Porras and take that 3-step drop away from him, one that he is more effective at than anything else.
Well, they sure did pressure him the first time. Some motion now from the Stampeders to help out with blocking. They try to throw it downfield to Willis. No, sir. Larry Willis is not happy about the call.
So Larry Willis caught it out of bounds.
He definitely caught it. He wasn't juggling it, I don't think, but they say that he wasn't in bounds.
I think Stanley Blair had great position on him, and as they're going down the field, Blair's taking that field away from him and working him to the outside. That left foot that came, right foot that came down, I think his heel was on the white line. Great catch, though, but doesn't count.
Nice punt by Matic, forces Hunter to run after it, and it is past him when he gets to it at the 20. Been important for the Eskimos tonight.
60 yards picked up by Tony to win Hunter.
He had a 57-yard return, this one for 23, and if the Stampeders can change quarterbacks, so can the Eskimos.
Well, maybe it's the ineffectiveness of Tracy Ham early. Maybe it's that shoulder, that left shoulder we saw get banged up a little bit earlier. Maybe that's the problem. but it almost seems like a new game with two different quarterbacks, both pocket type of quarterbacks.
The change of pace really happens to be the same. Mobile quarterbacks are gone. The more traditional passers are in the game, and the Eskimos run on first down with Reggie Taylor.
Well, you want to get the feel of the game, and when you come in, the best thing to do is to hand off to a sure-handed running back. But, you know, I look back at Calgary putting Porras in with that offense, that spread offense. It seems to me that a guy like Terrence Jones, who has the mobility, when there aren't as many people around, maybe he could do pretty well in that formation too.
Orman swings it. Taylor, who does not get the first down. Rick Warman made a big impact in the first meeting of the season between these teams, the 54-4 game, which for a while Tracy Ham was in, was a close game. But Warman came in and just destroyed the Stampeders in the second quarter. Here he tries to do it in the third quarter. A quarter, by the way, that has been very good to the Stampeders. They've outscored their opponents by a pile of points in the third quarter and have been outscored in the first, second, and fourth quarters, whatever that means.
McCreary's had a great game to this point, both in special teams and coverage, and you'll see him come up here on Reggie Taylor and make the first contact. Number 3 is going to come up and bang, hit him right in the shoulders and wrap the leg around and wait for your buddies to come in and help out. And that shot right there, as you see Pat Clayton leaning over and talking to the athletic therapist of the Stampeders. The way they're holding the helmet, it almost seems like a shot to the neck. David, you know, you talked about when Warman came in against Calgary before, he had a couple quarters, and then Tracy Ham came back into the game and had his way with the Calgary defense.
So could you have done that by that point in the game. It was.
You've seen me throw, have you?
David McCrary, who's been a standout in defense for the Stampeders tonight, is nicely on his feet and will probably be back in the game. He has been returning punts, so in his absence, it'll be Howard Fields back for Calgary. Corrick to punt for Edmonton.
Corrick, another one of the punters in the CFL, have a two-step. A lot more effective and more efficient in getting the ball off. See what Corrick looks at right here.
Something he doesn't like. That punt, not very good. Fields came up to meet it.
He's wearing his only Eskimo and wears a new face mask, and that's the one right here. This is the old type, metal with a rubber covering. This is an awful lot lighter. It's a polycarbonate, same material that helmets are made out of. This is 1.6 ounces or pounds. This is a half of a pound. Quite a difference.
And this could make a difference on the scoreboard if Willis can get to the end zone. Larry Willis is in the end zone. Touchdown, Stampeders. The quick hitter worked. Porras got rid of the ball, and Willis outran the defenders, and the Stampeders lead for the second time in the game.
Calgary would probably like me to talk about face masks more often. That's what they want, the quick hitter. Make that opportunity, create an opportunity. Porras stands in the face of a rush and throws to the inside. You know, if Willis is moving down the line, and we talked about this earlier, in a man coverage, he can get to the inside and place himself between him and the quarterback. That's what he wants. With his speed and quickness, he can turn a normal play, an average catch, into a big one, and that's what he did.
6 Eskimos on the line and 6 others at the 2 sidelines, so there is a lot of room in the middle, and Larry Willis found it. Split 72 yards with Tom Porras' pass. The convert by Mark McLaughlin has the Stampeders on top.
Tom Porras knows in this type of offense that he has to be able to get rid of the ball quickly, and quickly as he does. 3 steps. He takes a good shot in the face by Stuman, but I think he knew when he delivered it that it was going to be a completion, but I don't know how happy he figured he would be.
Well, football is a game of strategy, but it's rare when it is this obvious what one team is trying to do, what the other team has to do to stop it, and then to watch it unfold. And we saw Chapter 1 in the first half with a formation about as different from the Calgary is using now as you could get. It didn't work. This one just did.
Well, the first one, as you said, is to squeeze the defense down, make them to show what they're going to do. This one is to spread them out and create gaps and seams in a man-covered situation.
Wright ducked under a hit. I don't think he ducked quite far enough as Doug Landry celebrates with the sweater hanging out. Now, those who are fashion conscious and fans of the CFL should know that Tank Landry pays for this. The CFL has what we'll call a dress code, and there are violations in the form of fines, but either Tank Landry won't or can't do anything about it.
Well, when you play like this on defense and special teams, the last thing you're going to worry about is whether your shirt is tucked in. And that's just great hustle. He stays now on the field for defense. That's what makes him so valuable, both on defense and special teams.
Norman still the Edmonton quarterback. Taylor isn't going anywhere. And the Stampeders are clearly fired up, as Landry shows.
Landry said what he wanted to do was, as a defense, bend but not break, and they've done that tonight. The first hit is made, and the play is made on the first hit. Taylor steps inside. Mitchell Price, boom, makes the hit, throws him off, kicks him out of the hole, and guys like Landry and Hopkins, Ford, you can keep counting them, get in on the tackle.
Well, if they didn't know it by now, the Eskimos and their fans at Commonwealth Stadium realize they're in for a tough time tonight. Warman on the run. He's no Tracy Ham.
Well, Joe Farragelli doesn't want to give a team like the Stampeders any type of advantage, be it change of momentum or everything. I think he can feel it right now that they're going to have to come back with a big play very shortly and stop the Calgary offense in the next exchange.
Midway through the third quarter, Calgary leads Edmonton 17-10. This is Dave Hodge with Neil Lumsden on the Canadian Football Network, and to say the least, an interesting ball game is unfolding. McCrary isn't down yet. Are they going to rule out a fumble or a lateral? And if it's a lateral, did it go forward or not? By McCrary, and he did throw it behind him. Then it bounced ahead because the lateral wasn't completed.
Ball thrown behind. Morris, Marshall Toner having the opportunity of getting off the line of scrimmage. First half from a three-point stance on the line, and now Enos Jackson in tight coverage works to his inside, tries to make a great adjustment, but just can't come up with a catch. It seems like it's awfully congested for those receivers and defensive backs in there.
Now, the Eskimos saw this Calgary offense on Labor Day for a few plays, and so this can't take them completely by surprise. Unlike the offense that Calgary used in the first half, but it wasn't successful. This one, at least on one play, Larry Willis is getting the job done.
All it simply does is put the defensive backs out in man coverage. They drop the safety way back to play the middle, to take that away, which would have been the play that they would have wanted, or defense, when Willis got that big pass. Then they're just going to bring those front five in a rush. That's how you defend it.
McLaughlin will try to add to the lead. There is some wind at his back. Nonetheless, it's a long field goal of 49 yards. Off to the left. Single point makes it an 8-point Calgary lead with 7:26 remaining in the third quarter.
Well, Joe Farragelli putting Warman in the second half, hoping to settle things down and come up with some plays and get some consistency in that passing game.
Come on now.
I think you have to give that Calgary defense some credit. We put an awful lot of onus on the Eskimos in the way they play defense, and rightfully so, but that Calgary defense right now has continued to put pressure on right from the beginning of the football game and have also gone to the ball very quickly.
Warman has had no success at all since replacing Tracy Ham. Completes this one to Marshall. Marshall reaching for the 50-yard line.
Creepy hand pass is complete to Blake Marshall.
Well, one of those linebackers is Kenny Ford, 97, that Darth Vader look.
Second down and 3, Eskimos.
Those guys go to the football. They drop very deep in pass situations, but they do get to the ball quickly.
Craig Ellis, 48 catches coming into the game, and he's still got 48 catches. They threw in his direction once, and there was an interference call against the Stampeders. But Ellis has not caught a ball tonight. Whoa, behind the line of scrimmage, Landry is on Reggie Taylor.
On Reggie Taylor. Into him and then on him. Landry looked at this game as the second half, really. Last week was the first half. This is the second. See Landry step up at the snap of the ball, find a gap, and then get in and face up to Taylor. And then rip him.
The reputation belonged to the Edmonton defense prior to the game. The Stampeders are building one of their own. Not to say that we haven't talked about the Calgary defense earlier this season, but head-to-head with the Edmonton defense, it has certainly not done this in the first 2 tries. Tonight, the Calgary defense, a big part of the reason the Stampeders are leading. McCrary on the punt return. Avoided one tackler, but not the next wave at the 30-yard line. Stampeders take the ball, and they have an 8-point lead. The score is Calgary 18 and Edmonton 10. We pause 10 seconds for the stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network. Have broken the halftime tie with 8 points in the third quarter, and as we said, the third quarter has been by far Calgary's best this season. It continues to be that tonight. David McCrary is getting treatment. That's the reason for the delay as we look at Landry on the bench.
It's going to be a long night for him. Hey, Gil, get ready, homeboy. Get ready next week, Gil. That's stuff for you too, baby.
I believe he's directing that comment to a fellow who wears number 6 in Toronto, Gil Fennerty.
Fennerty and the Argos will visit Calgary next week, and if the Stampeders should win here tonight, they will be sky high for their return back to McMahon Stadium.
Once again, McCrary a little bit shaken up. He's had a whale of a football game, both on defense and returning punts.
Here we go again. Tom Porras all by himself. 5 blockers ahead of him. Receivers on either side of him. The Eskimos trying to get at him. Again, he throws before they do, and Graham catches the ball.
Well, coming up to the line of scrimmage, the offensive linemen have to be very aware of what the defense is doing. You know, you get used to blocking numbers. And when faces and numbers change, that's where sometimes the confusion can come in.
Now, it seems there's no option for Edmonton. They have to continue to do what they're doing. It's not like they can take that one free pass rusher and do anything else with him.
Well, no, they will continue to come. They won't back off a bit.
Okay, Morris will continue to try to throw it before they get to him. Toner, the intended receiver, as he came over the middle, and the Eskimos adjusted to that. Morris leaves. Adage comes to punt.
You know, in that situation where Porras has had success going to the inside, the Eskimos show him exactly the same lineup. But on the snap of the ball, Porras is making his read. Danny Bass drops off. Hildebrand, as the safety, moves up and closes down that middle. Makes it tough to sneak the ball in there.
Hunter has to let this one bounce, and it goes straight out of bounds. No possibility for a return by Edmonton's Tony Hunter. With 4:58 remaining in the third quarter, the Eskimos get another try at moving the ball. Warman stays in the game. Now, we have not heard, as we look at Tony Spallettini getting treatment, of any injury to Tracy Hand. The only reason he might not be able to play would be the knock he took on the left shoulder in the first half, but it seems a coaching decision to stay with Warman through this third quarter. Fields with the first turnover of the game. The Stampeders celebrate it. And I'll suggest Rick Warman isn't throwing the ball very well.
No, he hasn't thrown it definitely with the same authority he has it. And when he first started out, he was looping the ball in there. And here's another example where he's trying to touch the ball in. See the backs release upfield, he's got that, but he's trying to get it into an area. And sometimes when you want to squeeze it into a small area, you better put some zip on it.
First time the Eskimos have turned the ball over. Gives the Stampeders possession. They go back to the normal offense. Throw it deep for Willis. A little push by Larry Willis helped him make the catch. The complaints come from the Edmonton defender. And Larry Willis just sort of reached back and gave Don Wilson a little shove and then went after the ball. You'll probably see it here.
The receivers work for separation, but this is an interesting way to get it right just beforehand. Don Wilson complained, turned to the referee. You just got to give the credit to Willis, not getting caught, making a great catch at the same time. But you just can't push off.
Back they go to the spread offense. No rush on Boris this time. He throws it to the corner. Christensen complains that he had no chance to catch it because there was an Eskimo on his back.
Well, we're seeing some variety now with the Calgary offense. We've seen what we'll call the normal set. And then with the three receivers on either side.
You can recognize for yourself now what the Stampeders are doing, although this is a little bit different. One back to stay in for help. Willis has another catch. Wilson takes him down, and Willis will stay there for the moment.
A little repair of the turf there. Again, the Stampeder receivers keep going down. You see Wilson has the man-to-man. He goes down inside, and Willis just simply pushes off. Wilson known for his aggressive style.
Well, what a game for Larry Willis. And there you see the evidence. It is third down. It is third and not much more than a yard.
Oh, 1.5.
But Kuharich, who has had a reputation as a gambler, is going to take 3 points here. And I agree wholeheartedly with the call. He's up by 8. An 11-point lead makes the Eskimos score twice to tie or go ahead of him, and that's what the Stampeders wanted. Mark McLaughlin gave it to them.
Interesting, Coach Kuharich telling us in our meeting yesterday that he was going to play 3-down football in certain situations. If they were running the ball and having success and getting 3 and 4 yards a pop, they wouldn't hesitate to go in and just play 3-down football, not even consider, unless, of course, they're in their own end, turn the ball over.
No, it's simple logic for the Stampeders to take the 3. With 2:34 left in the third quarter, they are now more than double the Eskimos on the scoreboard. Edmonton has, to this stage of the game, been able to score 10 points. And if they don't do better than that the rest of the way, they won't win.
Well, this, I think, is the first time we've seen the Eskimos really flat throughout the game. They've had tough contests where they've moved the ball up and down the field and haven't had success putting the ball in the end zone. But by comparison to the previous games, they're a little flat.
Well, if they're as good as they're supposed to be, they'll respond to this challenge. But the Stampeders almost seem to be hitting harder now than they were at the start of the game, and I guess an 11-point lead will help you do that.
Saw Tony Spallettini a few minutes ago getting his leg stretched, that hamstring. Probably testing to see how bad it was. Well, he won't be back. You saw the ice on the back of his leg, but who will be back, as you can see, is Tracy Ham.
I'm not surprised at that.
Well, you know, I said that the Eskimo offense is a little bit flat. You've got to give some credit to the Stampeder defense for making them flat.
Back to the ball, and a flag comes down. McCrary on Ellis, 3 against 33. The Stampeders against the Edmonton receiver.
Interesting call.
But they're not going to get it, I don't think.
Well, McCrary has inside position. And it looked like Ellis was the one going after it.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 3. First down.
Well, let's look.
Lots of time to throw the football. As you said, Tracy Ham was able to sit back there, and you can follow Ellis's path. Dips back in and then goes outside. Ball's going to be thrown to the inside. And I think he might have got called for that right elbow swinging around at Ellis.
Well, Hopkins almost came in and intercepted as they tried to go to Ellis again. I think a bit of a questionable call. I don't know that Curry was doing much more than staying where he was, and Ellis...
Well, once you've got position for the football, it's as much your property as anybody else's.
Ellis had to try to come back to the ball, and he's not allowed to throw McCurry aside to do that. Anyway, the Eskimos do get the call in their favor. Here's Ham rushed, throws it. Keith Wright with the catch, and a big mistake by Ron Hopkins. Hopkins had him covered and then ran too far toward the football.
The ball sailed on Hopkins. Tracy Ham in the grasp, or very close to the grasp, and on his way down after buying some extra time. See Landry come up the middle, but nicely picked up by Marshall to cut him off. Warnock to the outside, almost is able to take him down, but watch the reaction. Hopkins moves his up, as you said, but the ball sailed on him, and Wright held his position.
Well, Hopkins at that stage has to stay right with his man, Keith Wright. First down, 15-yard line. Ham is on the move at the 10, and he's in the end zone. Touchdown.
The philosophy behind taking Tracy Ham out and sit him on the sidelines is to let him to have a look at what's going on. It certainly worked. Here we go. There's that gap. He keeps that ball out as if he's going to throw it. But the closer he gets, you know he's going in. Stampeders are known to, when they get their back to their goal line, to go into man coverage. And if the linebackers run out of there with the running backs and the receivers take them down, as you can see, there's a lot of open space.
3 plays, 76 yards for the touchdown. Tracy Ham, the last 15 by himself. And the pass interference call, a very important part of that drive, as 2 Calgary linebackers get treatment, all of them chasing this man.
Offensive line, good job of keeping them going to the outside. Belleville, Warnock. There's that pocket to the inside. They've got Price hooked to the one side of the field, and that just opens that gap up. A disciplined pass rush against Tracy Ham is what you need. Keep him up the lanes and then fold the pocket. The offensive line did exactly what they wanted to, create that scene.
Eskimos will take the 1 point. Down 5, you always wonder whether you should go for 2 and cut the margin to 3, but there's so much time left that the Eskimos will take the easy points now. With 52 seconds left, third quarter, they are within 4.
On that play, both Landry and Ford had gone down to what looked to be cramps. You get taken out of a football game, you know you're not playing well, but you always know there's an opportunity you can get a chance to get back in, and if for no other reason, redeem yourself personally, and then ultimately take your team down and get them ahead. And I think Tracy Ham has done that to this point.
Well, already, and we've got another quarter to go. This is the best game I've seen in this CFL season, and you expect this kind of effort and intensity from the Eskimos and the Stampeders when they play each other. It's been fascinating to watch Calgary particularly change its offensive strategy and watch the Eskimos counter with their best defense in the CFL. And we've got a full quarter of this to go.
Come on now.
Flags are down here.
I mentioned earlier, is the second rusher on the team coming into the game with 361 yards, and I think the Stamps are going to get 15 plus here for unnecessary roughness.
Objectionable conduct. Edmonton number 45. First down.
Mike McLean, the linebacker, gets caught right at the end of the play. Howard Fields doing a pretty good job of harassing him. Gets rid of Fields right about here. Darcy Kopp is the recipient. 15 yards goes to the Stampeders.
Forrest pitches to Lorenzo Graham, and he goes nowhere. Basically, they haven't tried to run since getting away from the tight formation in the first half. Brian Warren leading the Edmonton defense cheers.
Lorenzo Graham wants to have the yard of the play.
I think the Eskimo defensive players, as you can see, led by Warren, can get a good feeling if they can shut down that offense. It's moved pretty well in the second half of the Stampeders. They can change things now in their favor.
Mandarich is down, and every other Edmonton defender is standing up. Morris hits his man over the middle, and that is Jay Christensen, who continues to run for a first down. 3 quarters in the book, and a 4-point lead for the Calgary Stampeders. They're in front, 21-17. Can be increased if the Stamps can continue to move the ball, or maybe kick a field goal from here, although you'd think that one more first down would really help in that regard. Tim Petros is bursting up the middle, and he is going to the 1-yard line as a flag down. Petros could have been stopped at the line of scrimmage. And the penalty is going to go against Calgary. Jeff Braswell makes the signal for us.
With that flag downfield, as far I'm wondering if the holding was at the point of attack or after he had made the first down. Either way, great effort by Petros. You're right, he could have been stopped if he doesn't keep his legs humping.
Holding. Calgary number 76. First down.
Look at the defensive players. They all go one way. You fake the pitch, hand back underneath.
It was Stuart Hill who had him, and Petros just kept going. Shook the leg out of Hill's grasp, went to the 1, but it's back at the 22 because of the penalty. It is, however, first down for Calgary, the penalty occurring after Petros had made the yards. Morris to Big Jake Christensen, 15-yard line. He's 2.5, 3 yards from a first down.
I think all Calgary quarterbacks, whether it be Terrence Jones or Porras, are comfortable throwing the ball to Christensen. He's always been able to have the soft hands ever since he got into training camp. Larry Kaharich has noticed that that's one of the qualities. Might not have the great speed of a Willis. He's got those secure hands.
He's in the game in place of Andre Alexander, but obviously there's more size because of that switch. Morris to Petros. Petros is at the 6-yard line with a first down.
Same play, faking the pitch to the wide side of the field and handing the ball back underneath. That pitch gives the movement to the defense. It allows the offensive line and the blockers to get a better position to create that seam for Petros. He can taste the goal line. He's been close twice.
Put the ball down at the 7, first and goal, Calgary. And they go from the normal I formation. Petros and Graham, 2 running backs, 2 receivers to either side. Graham has the ball. Flag down as Graham is down at the 5.
Eskimos still lining up defensively as their front 7 with only John Manrich in a 3-point stance. The rest of them on the line of scrimmage squatting in a 2-point stance.
Bill Farragalli doesn't like to see that signal. Offside Edmonton, so it's still first down for the Stampeders. From the 4.
Offside. Edmonton number 20. Still first down.
3.5 really, so a little more than a yard a crack, and the Stampeders should be able to get in. But against this defense, it's not necessarily that easy. Graham is in for the touchdown. Lorenzo Graham has his second major of the game. And the Stampeders return to a lead of more than a touchdown.
Well, if you're going to get in the end zone on a play like that, you need a good lead block from your running back, and then you need someone to take that corner and block it so he can turn up. 12 is leading. Petros puts a good block on Stuman, who was already on his way down, allows Graham to get upfield because they've taken that corner, the offensive left side of Fairbanks and Ferroni. And what has impressed me about the Stampeders tonight is both situations where they've had their back against the wall, they've come back and responded.
Convert is no good.
Safety Greg Peterson came out in that second last play before the touchdown. His left hand, or specifically his thumb, you can see that foot's tapping. He's got some problems, and it is very, very sore.
Andre Alexander. Nice return to the 45-yard line for the man they call the glowworm.
Gives the Stampeders good field position. Greg Marshall, with the help of some very close personal friends, the offensive lineman. Look at, they just seen Coyle. Dermott flies off. Get your helmet in someone's chest. Walling kicks out on someone. Blake Dermott. And another Blake Marshall.
Graham is hit, gain of a couple of yards.
Hector Potier getting that right ankle taped or secured. Dr. Boucher standing there in the blue jacket just to the left. Quick tape job.
Less than 9 minutes now in the fourth quarter. Stampeders holding a 3-point lead. Second down, they've got to go right to midfield to move these yardsticks. Is right there, and Willis's good game continues with an important Calgary first down into Edmonton territory at the 53.
Pretty good move after catching the ball to put the brakes on, not go headstrong into Danny Bass. Just lazy little pattern, go to the outside. You see everyone clear underneath him. You saw the heels going. Here comes Bass from his linebacker spot. And Braswell, and then Bass again.
Willis, the big play man on offense for the Stampeders. He is down. That's his 8th catch of the game. And you can see the rest of the numbers. Big yardage for a great average and one important touchdown that put Calgary in front in the third quarter, and the Stampeders have led from there.
There's no question when Larry Willis, as most teams' big receivers, when they're having a good game, it takes the pressure off the other receivers. Willis came into this game with a streak of 46 games and at least one catch per game, and Blake Marshall's got himself a couple of touchdowns. He's got to like playing that short yardage.
Now the Stampeders are trying for their 6th victory of this season, and that's the amount of games they won all of last season. So win or lose tonight, they're bound to improve on the 1988 total, but how they'd love to get victory number 6 right here.
Yeah, it's not so much the victory, it's who they beat.
First down, Stampeders, Porras at quarterback, Edmonton 53. Clock nearing the 8-minute mark. It's 8 minutes left. Graham is outside with Bass chasing him, missing him, and Graham still at his feet. Eskimos never did get him off his feet and finally got him out of bounds at the 39.
You know, when they hand out playbooks at the start of the year and they draw plays up, and they draw them up obviously perfectly, but Graham executed that play with the help of the offensive line real well. He takes the pitch, reads the first block, goes inside, and then back outside. Perfect.
Clock moves under 8 minutes to go. Stampeders continue to move the ball. They have a 3-point lead. so Graham. This time, nothing. Mass got him that time with Don Wilson's help.
Larry Caharet said the key to the Eskimo defense, and I'm sure everyone on the Eskimo team is aware, especially the coaches, is Danny Bass. Says he's so tough to block. His movement is so good, and he's so smart.
Second down, really a little more than 10 is needed. Morris was rushed. He threw it on the run. Another Edmonton interception, and how they have hurt the Stampeders. That's the fourth one.
Of course, it's throwing this ball off his backhand, his back leg, and you don't get much power on in that situation. To continue to have success, they've got to stop turning the football over.
After the fourth interception, the Eskimos go to Keith Wright for a catch and a first down at the 45.
Stanley Blair allows the Eskimos to dodge a bullet and put the ball back into an offense. Seems to be working well for the Eskimos right now.
Not only the fourth interception of the game by the Eskimos, but all four have occurred in their territory, three of them very deep. Ellis finally has a catch and a little more on the run as he comes close to midfield and close to another first down. Catch number 49 in the season. Craig Ellis led the league in catches twice earlier in his career, 84 and 85 with Saskatchewan. He is battling to do it again 4 years later, which would be quite a story. Flag down. Marshall gets the first down.
Marshall for the first down. There is a flag on the field.
There is no infraction on the play. First down.
Just a flag. The upper lip is stiff. The jaw pointed. The Heritage Stampeders lead by 3. First down, Tracy Hand to Reggie Taylor. Great running by Taylor. The ball pops loose, and the Eskimos is falling on it. And a Luckin ball that time. Keith Wright came up with the ball.
Outstanding effort, as you mentioned, by Reggie Taylor. He's going straight out. Slow down a little bit. No one's coming. Throw to the flat. There's no one within 5 or 10 yards. But watch this effort. And sometimes you become a little bit more vulnerable when you're spinning, jumping around, trying to get away from tacklers. And a big hit by Quinn is what popped it loose.
Ham, a long way to run to the far sidelines for a couple of yards.
The ball carrier for a couple of yards. Forward on the tackle. Second down.
The Stampeder defense, I think, now are showing some signs of fatigue. I mentioned earlier, it's not easy chasing guys like Ham and Taylor all over the field.
Big second down play here. Ham got only 2 yards, 2nd and 8. Here come the Stampeders. Ham sees it, doesn't see a receiver yet, throws it to the corner. Ellis, they say he caught it in bounds.
Well, Ellis has got a matchup he's got to like. It's on Vernell Quinn. He tries to take him inside. See, the other receiver goes out to the flat, so that middle's wide open.
Whoa.
Very close. Great catch. Does that foot get in? No, that foot's on the white line.
Well, except that I think the ruling is that the Calgary player hit Ellis, and had he not, Craig Ellis could have come down with the ball. A close call either way, but there's no doubt he came down on the line. However, the ruling will be, if we're to interpret it correctly, But the Stampeder player made him do that, and that made the touchdown possible. Marshall is in.
Blake Marshall is becoming money in the bank for the Eskimos, be it over the right or left side. See all the offensive linemen reaching to that side, going for the cutoff, and just letting Blake Marshall find that seam, even as so small as it might be, and let him blow it open.
A long Edmonton drive, 85 yards. Marshall took it the last yard. Craig Ellis, shut out for basically the entire night, comes up with what is now the biggest catch of the game.
Once again, athletic therapist Pat Clayton's called to work. Great surge. It's a lot of fun to watch an offensive line tee off. Look at them go. Everyone gonna get a piece. Just push them back a bit. You can see contacts made with Marshall. He'll go in any way he can. Forwards, backwards, sideways, land on your head. Do a spin. Doesn't much matter.
Tracy Ham was out of this game for a while, and the Eskimos, I think, are quite happy he's back in it now, because Rick Warman did not have success. But Tracy Ham, in this second half, after he got back into the game, has moved the Eskimos to a 4-point lead with 4:08 remaining. Gary Corrick adding the all-important point after. Some hard feelings get into the action following the convert.
Well, you'd almost have to expect that. The frustration from the Stampeders side of the ball.
Let's take another look at the catch that set up the touchdown, and you decide whether Craig Ellis would have come in bounds if he had not been hit by the Calgary defender. I think it's safe to say he could have caught it in bounds had that hit not been made.
That's right. He was forced out on contact.
So we'll agree with the call, and the Eskimos don't care whether we do or not. They are leading by 4.
Yeah, there's only one that has to agree with it, and that's the guys wearing the striped shirts.
Strange-looking kickoff that's going to stay in bounds. And Hopkins doesn't stay on his feet very long as Blake Marshall is down there to administer the hit.
Well, you can deliver a blow many ways in football. Sometimes it's taken into the end zone to hurt the opposition. And in this situation, we've watched Blake Marshall go down on special teams a little bit more stride, and this time he loves to hit. He does a heck of a job at it, too.
31-yard line, first down Calgary. Under 4 minutes to go. To Petros, and the Eskimos have him wrapped up.
Eskimos twice burned by that play earlier on in the game. Quite simply making the adjustment. Watch the backside, closing down, not going upfield like they did before, but coming down the line of scrimmage, which eliminates the seams that Petros had hit before. I think Calgary has to keep their wits about them because there's still plenty of time.
A little more than 3 minutes, 2nd and 11. Stampeders at their 30. Incomplete.
Just a great play on a reaction to the football. Larry Ruck has had a great season. Joe Faragelli said we've got a couple good linebackers, but we don't dare take Ruck out of there or even think of rotating him because he's playing too well.
going to Hunter from his 37-yard line. Tony Hunter went nowhere. Well, he went to the 39, and there's 2:44 to go as the Eskimos try to keep a 4-point lead. Terrence Jones in the first half threw his first touchdown pass as a Stampeder. Willis has had a catch from Tom Porras for a TD. Tracy Ham has made a big difference in the second half. And Keith Wright, Thurman is on top of him, but not before Wright makes the catch. The Stampeders don't think he did, but the ball is staying right there.
Keith Wright's come up with some big catches, especially while in this. So a lot of the Eskimos keep drives alive.
Interesting call on first down. The Eskimos are the leading rushing team in the league. They come out throwing on first down, 2.5 minutes left. Now they run the ball, and that's why Reggie Taylor can eat up yards like that. And time on the clock on the running play.
You had to figure they try to crank up that running game. They've averaged 173 yards per game this year. And a lot of it has to do with the talents of Reggie Taylor. Blake Marshall kicks out the outside man. Taylor finds that seam, and boy, does he explode up the field.
So far from just eating time on the clock, the Tracy Ham is belted, and this is going to cause some trouble.
It'd be an easy job to straighten that out. Who did what and when and why? That's what they're trying to figure out right now.
Okay, illegal motion, Edmonton, rough play, both sides. And it is pretty tough when you're starting a blitz and the whistle
Procedure,
blows.
Edmonton number 8. Unnecessary roughness, Edmonton number 26. Unnecessary roughness, Calgary number 39. Still first down.
Well, no call on the hit on Tracy Hammond. I think that's proper. It was.
Well, they're coming hard. He's pulling back out, and they have to assume he's got the football.
5-yard penalty to Edmonton after all of that. And to the corner, Hopkins trying to make the coverage, but it's not there. The touchdown pass is Tony Hunter, the designated import, in for Stephen Jones, has himself a TD.
Hopkins in the position that he wants, not knowing where the football is. Look to get to the outside, no one either in the face or close to Tracy Ham. See Hopkins, he turns to the in and then back out. By the time he turns back out inside to see where the ball is, Hunter's able to just turn the Jets on a little bit and get by him a yard.
Tony Hunter's a happy young man, and to say the least, Larry Kuharich is not. The Stampeders gave it, to me, like everything they had, and it's not good enough. As the Eskimos go up by 11 with 1:53 remaining, and Hunter continues to celebrate.
Well, when the Eskimos are allowed to sprint out and keep the defenders along the line of scrimmage as they do here. See a good struggle on the backside, Conop working against Beliveau. But see, there's no one close to him, and when he has the opportunity to throw the ball, when he's not even being close to being harassed, Hunter's going to get himself open. Look at this, Reggie Taylor, who's supposed to help out. Ian Marshall doing a good job on the outside on Fleming.
Most of that in the second half. Boy, Calgary's frustration, what it must be. They've scored 27 points, which is just about double what the Eskimos normally allow.
It's almost like being teased, isn't it?
And it's not enough. Flag down, Hopkins. Tackle with 1:48 to go.
Marcos, 53-yard kick from that 24 yards. There is a penalty coming on the play.
Illegal block. Calgary number 35. First down.
Hopkins contact, no flag. It'll be first down.
Well, I mentioned earlier that Calgary had time to come back. They had to show some patience. Well, the patience thing has to go right out the door now.
Well, now I suppose Tom Porras can go ahead and throw a pass that earlier he shouldn't have thrown. The Stanley Blair interception, if you want to look at one play more than any other, turned this game around. The Stampeders were in a position to think about a field goal and a 6-point lead when they were leading by 3. Turning the ball over for the 4th time in Edmonton territory wiped out the possibility of building the 3-point margin, gave the Eskimos the ball. They promptly went down and scored not once but twice now to lead by 11.
You know, you figure if you're going to turn the football over, you want to turn it over in their end, not necessarily in the end zone, because it makes it tougher on them to turn a turnover into a positive situation. The Eskimos have done it. They've driven the ball downfield on most situations when they've been given that opportunity.
It continues to be pretty difficult to pick out one Edmonton defender because there are so many of them out there contributing. Dan Bass, for example, is the leading tackler in the team coming into the game with 34, and that's half what the league leader Dave Albright has.
Yeah, but he contributes that to not being on the field nearly as much. And, you know, he's been involved in more bigger plays this year than he has been in the past.
So many more players capable of making big plays, too, that the Eskimos have tacklers spread right through the defense. Brock Smith is in the game. As you have seen, the Stampeders do nothing but throw now. They need 2 touchdowns to win the game, or an 8-point touchdown and the field goal to tie. No good on the sidelines as Smith reached for that one.
Stanley Blair, as Andre Francis does, have a unique ability to be able to turn what looks like to be an open receiver into potentially an interception. I mean, you'd swear that receiver was open, but the way he jumped on that football after it was thrown, he almost was able to pick it off.
Flags all over the place. Willis with a great catch and run, and he's going to score. There are flags. Francis chasing him. He won't catch Larry Willis. What about the penalty flags? Motion against Calgary. It's coming back.
Procedural on the offensive line.
Procedure. Calgary number 62. 2nd down.
That's a long, slow walk for Larry Willis.
I'll tell you, watch the left tackle, 62, just on the corner of the screen. He'll come up early, takes that step inside to try to cut off that gap. And that early movement cost him.
Pretty obvious. 36-year-old Lloyd Fairbanks. Illegal procedure, 2nd down and 15. And it's completion, but so what, and a flag. But Blair and Willis started this game in trouble with each other. Stanley Blair got a roughing penalty, and the end of the game doesn't change anything.
A receiver can be fairly irritating as the game goes on, especially in running plays. A lot of receivers choose to back off, but sometimes you can get downfield, and when a defensive back isn't looking, crack him real good on the side. It gets his attention, also gets him mad.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Edmonton number 5. Still 2nd down.
the battle goes on between
Hi, Courtney. Hi, Donnie. Hi, everybody.
Blair and Willis. Blake Marshall, 3 touchdowns.
You did it.
He's had to run about 5 yards to get the total.
Tough yards, though.
Boris swings it out. Petros has too many men to beat.
Well, flipping out your back, coming out of the backfield is not going to be a way you're going to get it in the end zone quickly.
Christensen, a diving catch, can't make it. And the ball turns over to the Edmonton Eskimos, who will remain undefeated at Commonwealth Stadium this year with 5 straight victories on this field. Only one that you could call easy, and that was against Ottawa.
Well, I think we've seen in Tracy Hand's face as we looked at him in the sidelines that he felt, I believe he felt he had something to prove, and prove it he has been able to do.
And he's done this before. He's had slow starts to a lot of games, and in the 3rd and 4th quarters, Tracy Ham has performed.
Well, that little rest, that a chance to get in the sidelines and you stew a little bit, or you think about what's happening. So far, when he's done it to Tracy Ham, the response has been excellent.
The Eskimos will win all 3 regular season games against the Stampeders, and that'll stick in Calgary's craw. You know that. The Stampeders now have to find a way to get back at the Eskimos in the playoffs. First, you have to make the playoffs. And then it looks like you're going to have to win a playoff game before you get to beat the team that is first now and should stay there in the CFL West.
Well, that Western Conference has become very interesting with BC on the charge. There's a man, Don Matthews, who has to be given a lot of credit along with Don Southern in getting this defense ready and performing the way it has this year. They've been tested tonight, though. Calgary went after them, tried to make them change instead of having the defense make the offense change.
But it's the defense that made the 4 turnovers, all of them interceptions. Big plays. Warwick almost had the punt blocked. He's down on the field, no flag with him. Prairie is hit, and let's hope this game can end without any trouble.
Well, there are lots of words, and there's a lot of bad feelings that are going to be left with the Stampeders, but they're going to have to wait. Maybe they can use that to their advantage as the season winds down, when they might have another shot and an opportunity in a playoff game to get back at these Edmonton Eskimos.
So here the Stampeders have a home-and-home series with the Toronto Argos, and the Edmonton Eskimos' next opponent is Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan and Toronto play each other tomorrow. So one of these teams, Calgary or Edmonton, is going to meet a team that continues to slump. Saskatchewan and Toronto both in trouble lately. That's another catch for Larry Willis. We can't forget his performance in defeat for the Stampeders. No matter which formation Calgary has tried, and there have been a few of them, Willis has been the guy that they've looked to when they've thrown the ball.
He's the type of guy on an offense that can set a tempo.
Boris felt Jeff Braswell after he threw that pass.
Boris passes to number 32, West Top.
Back to the spread formation. Morris has to hurry. Still on his feet. Put his head down. He's not afraid of some contact.
Well, for a second there, he didn't look like the Tom Forrest we know. When he started to sprint out there, the knees came up, he started pumping like a high-stepping running back.
It'll be third down, 2 yards to go. Stampeders.
John Mandridge down. Generally when they're pulling the toe back, it means some sort of cramp, probably in the calf area.
And speaking of improvement in Winnipeg, Tyrone Jones is going to help.
Going to help an awful lot, especially if he comes back with the same type of form he left as that rush end position. That reunites him with James West. All of a sudden that defense could have a new look. And I think you'd have to say it's an aggressive look. It's the big guy, John Mandridge, gets off.
The last time the Bomber fans saw their team at home, it certainly was aggressive as they dismantled the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Toronto Argos. 19 seconds left as the string is played out here. The Stampeders trying to score, though. Christensen has another catch inside the 30. Here's Braswell now. There, Braswell's in a fight with Marshall Toner. Braswell runs off the field. Toner wanted him, and Braswell, who is in enough trouble when he isn't in trouble, didn't want to get into any.
Well, Toner coming to the aid of Larry Willis at that point. I think Braswell was giving him a hard time. You got to stand up for your players.
This will be the last play of the game. Willis and Francis and the official look. And now Braswell takes a shot in the back from another Stampeder. You didn't see that on your screen, but Braswell's going to forget about it. Edmonton rolls on, and the Stampeders go home 0-3 against their provincial rivals this season.